Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Anna Marie DiGiorgio, and I would like to welcome you to the new Entrepreneur New Normal, accelerating beyond the pandemic. I just had a feeling after I had moved that I really needed to reach out to other businesses to find out what they were doing to grow and to let other businesses know that they're not alone during this time. And so I have with me Gary and Wilbers, and he started his serial entrepreneur career at the age of 23 with a new business called Tubs of Fun. After that, Gary had found momentum and success in starting and operating 12 different businesses. One of the first businesses Gary built was Mid-America Wireless, and that's where he and I had worked together. And he started a two-man company, and that grew over to 10 storefronts with over 150 employees. And in 2015, Gary has started an acronym that was CHARGE, Create Habits Around Real Goals Every Day. And he has a roadmap of success, and he's a keynote speaker and coaching and training. He's authored several books. And one of the greatest things I love about Gary is that he loves to spend time with the Special Olympics. And him and Keith play golf all the time. And if I'm not mistaken, last year, Gary, didn't you guys win the gold or something?
We did.
Yes, yes. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Keith and I play unified golf. I will tell you right now, he's very anxious. I probably talk to him at least 2 or 3 times a week because the athletes are very susceptible, as you know. So he's have to be very much staying home in his residential facility that he lives at. And so he calls and he's always checking, when can we start golf and when are the Cardinals going to start playing, because we're in Missouri. So of course he's a big Cardinal fan.
Right. Well, that's awesome. And I'm hoping that soon you guys will really be able to get out there. I know that he absolutely loves that as much as you do. So tell me, Gary, in these times of crisis, how have you built your business and kept it going?
Well, I think this time, I will be honest, one thing, kind of a title I call myself a positive culture mentor. So I have a very optimistic viewpoint. And when it first came out, I think I had that optimistic viewpoint. But I started doing one of the things that I tell people to really stop doing is stop watching the media all the time. And I caught myself, I'll be honest, and I saw that roller coaster going. And I think this has happened multiple times in my life. Sometimes on election years, you think that that's going to change your business, so it would get you in that roller coaster. So I think as business owners, we have to really look at it as saying we have to control what we can control. You and I both love Franklin Covey and Stephen Covey and what he created, the 7 Habits. And he talks about circle of influence and circle of concern. What is in your influence that you can influence? Because all those concerns we can't change. We can't change this pandemic and what it's done, but there's certain things I can influence. And luckily what happened is I caught myself in that and I told myself, okay, I've got to change this. And my habits that you talked about earlier, I leaned heavier into my habits, like exercise. I decided I was going to make sure that I exercise because that gives me energy and creates my creativity and thinking. So I leaned into that more because back in before 2002, that wasn't a regular habit. And then I decided things like my morning ritual, I call it my morning magic ritual that I have. I leaned into that. And in that ritual is about getting up and that first hour to hour and a half being my time, reading some spiritual, taking some time journaling, thinking about what am I thinking about? And I tell you, that really helped me through this one. And I think the key is really for every business owner to realize, what can you influence and what are the concerns? What happens though, we allow the concern to overtake us. And of course, those negative thoughts, I talk about this all the time. We have 60,000 thoughts that go through our mind each and every day. The sad part is 80% of them are negative. So what do
Yeah.
we've got to do to change our mindset? We have to be the one, especially if you're the business owner or leader in that organization, because all your people are taking the lead from you and they're struggling at different paces. So if they're not getting that leadership from you as that business owner, what are you going to do? So I really implore you, you make a big difference. And you have to find ways to be able to receive that and get that information and then be able to not diagnose it, but change your mindset. And it's going to be different for each person. For me, it was exercise and really leaning into some of my habits of magic routine that I have in the morning. But decide what that is for yourself and make sure you do it.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is if you don't have a routine, build yourself one.
Yeah.
And I also understand that, when you walk or if you're on a treadmill and you're listening, you get to be more creative because your body's on the go, right? And so I absolutely agree. So how do you know when you had the right idea?
I don't think there's an ever perfect where you know, but the thing is, I do a lot of gut check. First, I want to talk to people that I'm trying to influence with that. When I got into wireless business, it was called the mobile phone industry back then. And of course, when I talked to my father, he told me every reason I shouldn't do that. That was the craziest thing he ever heard of. Car phones in your car? Why would anybody want those, But luckily I reached out and was talking to some business people, and I went to some conferences and they were talking about this new technology. So it's your circle of influence, your circle of friends. And then you want to go outside of that because your friends mean good things, but sometimes when you're getting into business, they're not always the smartest on that part of it. So have a mentor, find someone that you can lean into, someone that's been in business, because most business owners that have done it, they love sharing their story. And when you sit down with them and, right now, if you can have a lunch with them or a meeting with them or a Zoom meeting, visit with them because they're willing to share with you some of the struggles they had and some of the things they did well. And what makes them feel good because it reminds them of that journey. And that's the key to remember. It is a journey. I'll be honest, on my first 10, 12, 15 years, I was more about the destination and not the journey. And now I'm getting to live that journey of impacting other people because I've realized that life is only so long and enjoy the journey as you go. Those first couple of years, let's be honest, as a business owner, you're going to struggle. There's going to be challenges. There are going to be hills and there's going to be valleys. But the thing is, it's fun to go through that and realize it's making you a better person as you go through it. So just keep learning and just realize that everyone has those challenges. No one starts a business and becomes a Mark Zuckerberg overnight. Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook did not become it overnight.
Right.
He can tell you back in the college dorm and when he left college and stuff, they weren't sure they were going to make it. And if you watch some of the documentaries and information on him, they didn't know they were going to make it. But of course, not everyone comes overnight. And that is the key. It's not about overnight success. It's really about long-term significance. Because if you define success, Anna Marie, you define it one way, I define it another. We can ask 100 people and we all define it differently. Success is important, but it's really about significance for yourself. What is the impact you're making on people?
Yeah. So it's really, it's not about just me. It's about everybody. That's kind of what this summit means for me. Because I too was kind of stuck when I first moved to Arizona. It was like, oh, whole new world. And then a few weeks later, it's like, oh, by the way, you can't go outside, right? So it is really about what can I give back, and open yourself up to this is not a failure. I'm not stuck here. I can actually move on. And speaking of failures, I'm sure you've had a few. And, how did you come out on the other side? What did you learn?
One thing, learn from failures. They're learning opportunities in disguise. They really are. Tubs of Fun, you mentioned on my opening. What a great business. It was a lot of fun, to be honest. But oh my gosh, we made so many mistakes. It's unbelievable. But you know, it drove us to the opportunity of getting into the mobile phone business that became the wireless business, that if I wouldn't have been in tubs of fun, I probably would have never got those other opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So realize that those become learning opportunities is what I tell people all the time, is as you learn, that's how you grow and that's how you become better. Now, the only thing is, be smart enough to know if you make a mistake, don't make that same mistake 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 times. Learn from it and learn what we need to move forward. And then the other thing, even when you're having success or things are going really well, because I think this is a mistake in businesses they have too. They always think things are great. Well, what's happened the last several months? Well, there's a lot of businesses, to be quite honest, we've had a time over 10 years, a really great time, and they still didn't build any nest egg. And they were successful. They were all those things that was said, but instead they went and spent it. And I'm not saying about growing your business, but they went and spent it in other ways. I'm talking about you got to invest in your business, but also create a nest egg, because no matter what business you have, there's going to be cycles. So if we were prepared and we had, 6 months of reserve for our business, not just personally, but for our business, we're not going to be as stressed as that business owner that has no money in the bank and he's borrowed till the hilt, then he's stressed out. So as your business starts to improve, always make sure you invest in your business, but also make sure you invest to keep some of that nest egg so you don't put yourself in that position. As you know, I always would tell my team members, if they come to work for me, if I was you, I'd build 3 to 6 months of reserves. Because if you don't like what I'm doing when I'm running the company, you can say, see you, Charlie, you're out of here, Gary, we're out of here, and stuff. And you have the opportunity to go somewhere else. But if you don't do that, then you're always beholden. Well, same way as a business owner. If they don't build a nest egg, and this came, and I coach some business owners, and I'll be honest, they didn't. And we're going to work through this over the next few years, if they continue to work with me, that we're going to build that so they're never in that position again. Because then they don't have to stress so much. Because the biggest stress a business owner have, I think, is not yourself, because you got to believe in yourself. And once you believe in yourself, you can go on to something else. But the key is, if you employ people and you have employees, which I call team members, and you have those team members, you owe it to them when your head hits the pillow, your greatest worry is about them, not yourself anymore. And it's that same giving message that you said before.
Yeah. And I think that's important too. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because it's really not just about the business as we sit here today. Yes, the business is a big part of it because you're employed, but it's the folks that worked for you, right? That they don't know where to go. And I'm really excited to be hearing about a lot of businesses being able to work from home and letting those employees finding those strategies to be able to keep them employed from working from home. And so I have a lot of guests that are actually finding ways to get that accomplished for them. So I'm really excited to hear about those things as well. So tell me, what's next for you? I know that you've written some books, so where are you headed?
Well, I have my next book coming out. My next book's coming out this fall. It's Cultivate Positive Culture, 10 Actions to Faithful Living. So it's a fable, and then it has I take those 10 actions and I share with how can you implement those in your life. So a lot of time right now is being spent on that. The writing is done. We're in the editing mode. Actually was talking today about a book cover and working through some of the book cover. But this one, mistake I've made in the past books, I've not done as good a job of marketing. So you learn as a business owner, and I did 3 books already. And the first book, I did a terrible job of marketing. Second book, I did better. The third book, I did probably the best so far. But this book, I'm going to do the best I've ever done. Right. And I'm really going to put the marketing behind it because I think it will really touch and resonate with people. The story will, and then the actions that they can put in their life. And it's not like they have to put all 10 actions in their life. It's they pick which ones are most important to them, and then they can implement and move forward in that. So right now, a lot of time being spent there. And then the real key I'm doing is we're going into a new stage of life. As you know, I have 3 children. They're 21, 19, and 17. Our 17-year-old's a senior, and she graduates this year and headed off to college. So really my goal is it's not right away when they leave, but Dana and I want to have more opportunity to be able to travel. So I can come out and see you in Arizona, or if I go to a conference and speak somewhere, instead of I just go and she stays home, we can travel together and then see that area. Because our country, our world has so many beautiful places that I want to experience those. And that's one thing, I want to experience those with her. So I go do my speaking, do my engagement, and then we spend another at least 2 or 3 days in the area sightseeing and exploring that area. So that's really kind of that next stage. So I've got to get my business more mobile. And to be quite honest, it's one of the benefits that's come from this pandemic. Because what happened? I had people that's never used Zoom before. That's how I did their coaching sessions. Because some of my clients are in very localized areas. So I used to go to them. Well, we didn't go to each other this time. So it really helped me. And I'll be honest, it helped myself realizing, yes, I can still be very effective this way with a client. So I want to have my coaching clients where it's more portable. So if I go somewhere, then I can still be coaching that client on my off time.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that's one of the things that really inspired me to become a business owner, is to get to that point where I can work and be on vacation, put the two together, right? So yeah, that would be great to travel and work and still be able to, go to Italy, have a speaking engagement, and go visit the sites. So that's really exciting. I'm very happy for you. So is there anything that you, from your heart, that you would really like to tell the viewers that we might have missed, or just really, really want to share?
Well, I think the biggest I would tell them is they have the capability. Everyone thinks of the other person. I mentioned Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook. You can pick whoever you want, the big names, and we look at them and we see where they're at. Or we look at somebody we know. I mean, a good mentor of mine, and he's been on my podcast, John O'Leary, like you have, Anna Marie, and stuff. And, he's kind of a mentor of mine and stuff. I look up to him and, he's farther ahead than I am. It's not where people are at. It's where you're starting. It's about your journey going back to that. So you have the capability. And if you don't believe that, that's the first thing I would tell you to work on. Work on your self-limiting beliefs, the things that are holding you back. There's things that we can do to change that. There's plenty of tools, just like watching this conference today and watching this video. I hope you pick up one thing. It may not even be from what Anna Marie and I say, but it may be a thought that goes through your mind that then you've got to really explore. But believe in yourself. What you can do, you are capable of doing. The best line ever is, if you believe it, you can achieve it. If you can dream it, it can happen. All those great quotes that are out there, you have that capability within yourself. And today we have more tools to get motivation. And it's not just motivation, get inspiration, but we have more things that we can grab a hold of. I mean, I was listening to some podcasts this weekend, and it just gave me some great thoughts that I need to really work on. So decide what it is for you. But number one, congratulate the audience members. Thank you for joining, because by you watching this, you can make an impact for yourself. And by saying yes to that opportunity, that gives you an opportunity then to be able to share it. And then the last thing I would share is, as you know, and I talked about this before, is when you do, then go back and mentor others, give back. There's no greater satisfaction. You've done that for me. I've had many clients do that for myself, come back and say, you made a difference in my life. And man, as you start to age a little bit, it makes an old guy's heart feel good. But, share with people that they made a difference. But don't be afraid to reach out to mentors, because there's people that want to help you. And there's coaches that want to help you. There's people who will help you on that journey. Anna Marie is great at that, of being able to take people on that journey and help them achieve what they're looking for. And don't think that's a weakness. That's actually a strength. Why do they have managers in baseball? Why do they have coaches in basketball? Because they're getting you back to the fundamentals. And I can tell you that's some of my greatest strength that I had from folks that I coach right now. They said, Gary, you made me realize about the small things are the big difference right now.
Yes.
That's what a coach can do for you. So seek out that help that you need and get that help. And then when it's your turn, then it's your turn to give it back to the people that are looking to grow and want to become a business owner at that time.
Absolutely correct. And I also find most of the time when you and I speak, I always get something out of it, and I always get so excited. I call three friends, right? And I want to share because it's so exciting. Of I just learned how to get this, or I just realized, bing, right, that Gary said this, and now that took me off in a different direction. So yeah, sharing, receiving, being aware of where you're at. Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. Now, I know that you have a special gift that you would like to share with our viewers. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I have a 7 days of charge, as Anna Marie said in my opening, is I have a mantra called charge, create habits around real goals every day. I'm going to have to send you the link, but I'm going to send you the 7 days of charge that you can share with them. It's totally free, only takes 7 days. There's video, and then there's some downloads that they can download. So the videos are less than 5 minutes each day. And it really is 7 days of charge that you can really take. How can you put that charge back in your life? And there's some simple tips. There's some that's a little bit tougher, the worksheets, but you don't have to work through all the worksheets. What do you need at that time? So when you go through the program, it's only 7 days long, but the thing is, it will start to put that charge in you. And ultimately what we're thinking about, what we're trying to get is, why do you want to do it? What are your goals and what are you trying to accomplish and what do you need to change? Like if it's that healthy eating that you need to start doing and some exercise, okay, there's a little thing called habit maker in there. And you're going to be able to build what that habit is that you want to have, and you can do it. Because when I tell people I get up at 5 in the morning, some people say, oh, that's early. Okay, maybe you can't do that. But if it's for you at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's whatever works for you. But you create a habit of doing it, and it's putting the X's. I picked this up from Jerry Seinfeld, actually. A young comedian asked him, how did he become a great comedian? He said, you write every day. And he had this big wall map up. This one's just an 8.5 by 11 sheet, but I got 100 squares on it. And what you do is you exit with a color. And every day you do it that you say you're going to do it, you exit. But if you miss a day and you had told yourself you're going to do it, you got to start with a new color and you got to start over.
Okay.
And it's about creating a change and chain. And when you get 7 to 10, 15, 20 days that you've done it, you don't want to break the chain. And you just go in. It allows you that momentum to really propel forward. So that's all in the program and the 7 days of charge. I'd love to share that with your people that's on the information and want to get it. It's a simple program to run, and I think they'll really enjoy it.
Perfect. 7 days. I think we can all do that, right?
That's right.
Awesome. I like that idea. So I'm probably going to have to, again, steal that from you.
That's fine.
So I appreciate you, Gary, being here with us and taking the time. I know that you're busy, and I just love you. So I appreciate your time. So we have other speakers that are going to be joining us. So don't go away. You'll see more coming soon. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks again, Gary.
Thanks for having me. Make it a great day.